Journey with me through the emotional experience of love, devotion, and ultimate heartbreak in raising my son with significant disabilities. This is a collection of memoirs that capture a life well lived. I hope it inspires, I hope it teaches, and I hope it entertains. Thank you for joining me. There was a part of me that knew something wasn't right while I was pregnant, just before Danny was born. Keeping in mind I was 20 years old, and this was my first pregnancy. I knew that something didn't feel quite right, and the week before delivery I went to the doctor and found out that my fundal height, the measurement between your pelvic bone and the top of your belly when you're pregnant, it had stopped growing and getting bigger with the measurements. I was 37 weeks pregnant at the time, and the doctor was concerned that the baby may have stopped growing. I was placed on bed rest over the weekend, and then I went for a fetal assessment that following Tuesday morning was as soon as she could get me in. I was hooked up to the fetal heart monitor in the assessment unit, and then I was promptly admitted. People were worried right away. There was a lot of quiet chatter about the baby and a lot of worried expressions. I was induced into labor, and I continued in labor for a few hours overnight. They started the induction by inserting gel into my cervix and then progressed into the intravenous drip. At some point, the doctors did break my water, and I experienced labor for a few hours. My mom and John, Danny's dad, were called in. By early morning, my family doctor was also called in, and 10 minutes later, I was wheeled in for an emergency cesarean section. Danny's heart rate was dropping low with every contraction, and they were worried that he wasn't getting enough oxygen. I laid on the table with my mom at one side and John at the other. I could see the reflection of the operation in the ceiling, the metal ceiling. I was frozen, and then I was cut open. I was terrified. I was in shock. My son was born. He wasn't breathing. He was blue. The room was silent, but for a lot of movement I could hear. I do remember I began to yell, "Where is my baby? Why isn't he crying? I can't hear him crying." I knew immediately that something was terribly wrong. By that point I had seen videos, and I knew children were born crying. I didn't know if he was alive. I had no idea. There was a lot of silence. He was unresponsive. The medical team was going full force trying to revive him. I thought I heard a gargle, maybe a little cry. I wasn't sure. They never passed him to me. I didn't see him up close. I never got to hold him at all. As the medical team ran past me with my baby, I didn't know if he was dead or alive. Little did I know, not only was he alive, he would become the king, my king of everything. And so I include this poem that my mother wrote because it captures so well our days, early days with Danny. And she titled it Danny. You came into this world, you were blue and white. You gave Nanny quite a fright. They hooked you up to lots of machines. There were times as I watched you, I was almost green. The doctor said that you were okay. They did lots of tests, then they came back to say things were not as they should be. I felt like their words were killing me. They said that the problems were in your head. The feelings I felt were of dread. Their words confirmed our biggest fears. With their words came many tears. I'd hold you and stare at your perfect face. The doctor's words I couldn't erase. I'd go home at night and I'd cry and cry. My biggest fear is that you may die. They unhooked your breathing machine. You fooled us all. You were really keen. Now you're breathing on your own, and pretty soon Mommy will bring you home. Nanny can't wait to spend her time singing you songs and telling you rhymes. The very same songs I sang to your mother, I'm saving for you and no other. For whatever time you're given to us, the one thing that you can trust, your life will be filled with laughter and songs for whatever time, short or long. Things may not be as they should be, but one thing's for sure, you're perfect to me. And that was written by my mom, like I said.